second part of image 75, the Sistine Chapel ceiling and altar wall frescoes. And in this segment, the deluge or the flood is the focus. So still in context, this is the country of the Vatican City. That's confusing, right? It's the Vatican City, but it's considered its own independent country. And this is St. Peter's Basilica, which Michelangelo, again, designed. And right over here, piece number 31 is the Sistine Chapel. And we are looking at the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in particular. And Pope Julius II kind of didn't give Michelangelo a choice, said, you're going to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling. And Michelangelo was a sculptor, that was his love. And so we see some of that love of sculpting transferred over into this painting. In terms of form, this is what the ceiling probably looked like. It was probably painted blue with some gold dabbled onto it. It looked like a night sky. But in terms of form, Michelangelo painted in all these architectural definition, and well, not that these were here, but he painted in all of these lines and essentially made a stage for all of his scenes. 300 figures are included in this ceiling. Wow. And in terms of form, again, the figures here are what are called modeled. That means that they're made to look 3D like a model, and it is through chiaroscuro that is done. So if you look at a figure, this woman, any one of these figures, do you see there's light here, and then there's darkness going across her arm that drapes across him. So all of these models have dark and light, and that gives them depth. And the faces and poses of these people just show serious desperation and sadness. Also, in terms of form, there is this incredible richness of color. So the reason we see this is that the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, they spent years redoing it, cleaning up all the soot off of the painting. This is what it looked like before it was restored, and this is the restoration. Look at all these bright colors here. In addition, there are massive idealized figures. Look at these torsos. They turn, and here you can see more on this side. They turn, yet at the same time, they are muscular. So they show drama and power, yet they're idealized like the Greek models or the Greek paintings, Greek figures. And this is the layout of the story. So these big 9 panels are what we're looking at. And here is it's all about Genesis. It's a story in the Bible, a book in the Bible. And there are descriptions of God creating the earth, God creating humans, and then 3 stories about Noah. The fall of man and the redemption of man is featured in the Adam and Eve and Noah stories. And what most people know about is this piece right here, this panel, and this yellow one right here that I've highlighted. This is our piece in our set, the one that's behind me. So just looking at the story of Genesis, starting with this panel down here, here's what it looks like. This is God creating light from dark. Then the next panel over is God creating the sun and the moon and earth. And then I'm skipping a couple, and this is God giving life to Adam. These are the drawings, the sketches that Michelangelo made for this painting. He would go home at night and he would sketch out the next day's drawings and in a cartoon, and then he would go to the Sistine Chapel and paint that whole day. People said that over 4 years' time, he looked like a beggar walking down the street. He didn't take care of himself so much. He was so engrossed in this project. He had projected that it would take him 6 years. He did it in a little under 4 years. One story in The Agony and the Ecstasy, which is the book about him, is that when he took off his boots, layers of skin came with it because he was so obsessed with his work and paid little attention to his own self-care. Okay, and this is Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Here they are taking the apple from the serpent, and then they're being expelled from the Garden of Eden. And then this is our piece. This is where God regretted making man. He felt like man was not so righteous, and he felt they were wicked, and he wanted to end mankind. He wanted to just get rid of humans. So he created rain for 40 days and 40 nights, but he told Noah to build an ark, and he was going to rebuild humankind with Noah. So let's look at this a little more up close. There are 4 scenes that I've numbered here, and they are divided. See this? They're divided by water, this gray water and sky. So clearly 4 different scenes. The first is this whole desperation of humanity climbing up out of the flood, but it's desperate and it's not going to save them. And here are humans in this boat that is capsizing. People are trying to climb in anyway, and it's a second away from just falling over, despite their efforts to keep it afloat. And here is a little island that people are trying to cling to for safety, and a father carrying his son who is limp, dead or near dead, and he is just desperately trying to get him to safety. But in the distance, we see Noah's Ark, and there are people trying to climb on the Ark, and Noah is on the Ark with his family and with 2 of each animal on the planet that are going to be saved. So the whole function of this piece is that the ceiling, there's no Jesus in this piece, even though this is a Christian church that celebrates Jesus Christ. Instead, this ceiling kind of lays the foundation for the coming of Christ, who is going to save man from himself, from his sins. Painted in 1508 to 1512, this is, kind of the optimism of the Catholic Church. It's before the Protestant Reformation. And so it's the high Renaissance, and it shows an appreciation for the ancient world with all of these idealized figures that are borrowed from the ancient world, that whole idealization.